Hello everybody and welcome to another video. We are here on the Odyssey of the Seas. It is Quantum Ultra. Glenn, what makes it Ultra?
I've been wondering that. I've no idea.
I don't know. If you know why this is a Quantum Ultra ship, then let us know in the comments below what you think makes the Odyssey of the Seas Ultra. Because right now, it's... I haven't got a clue, to be honest. And while you're down there leaving a comment, why don't you hit that subscribe button and like the video, obviously, even though we've just started, but I'm sure you're going to love it.
Yeah, and you can always unlike it at the end if it really didn't hit the spot.
I mean, that's kind of rude, but it's up to you. Anyway, Odyssey of the Seas. So in this video, we are actually opening our series of videos with this one because we are on a Greek Isles cruise from Rome all the way through to, well, Rome and a loop, but visiting the Greek Isles, and we obviously went to Turkey as well. So we've been filming a vlog series which is coming straight after this one. So in this video, what we thought we would do is, for those of you who are going to be booking the Greek Isles cruise in 2024, we've got some top tips that we think you will find useful, and we thought it would be a different way of opening this brand new series from Odyssey of the Seas. So let's start with tip number one. Okay, so the first tip, which I'm going to come up with, I know that Glenn's made notes, but he clearly hasn't mentioned this one, is if you're arriving in Rome, my first tip is going to be, Rome is a beautiful city, there's a lot to see and a lot going on. If you can, I would 100% recommend spending a night or two in Rome. First of all, because there is so much to see, like the Vatican, and just walking around and soaking up the atmosphere of just day-to-day life in Rome is in itself a reward. Also, from the point of view of the ship itself, I am one of these people that thinks that those people that fly into a destination on embarkation day, you are playing with fire, love. Honestly, I just think that it's nice to be there, and then you can get a taxi over to the port, which can cost, I think it's about €100, or you can pre-book a specific car, which might be a little bit more. But I think that that's worth the extra investment because Rome is a beautiful city, the food is fantastic, and it really needs to be experienced by everybody.
Yeah, we used a company for the transfers that actually we got tipped off on Facebook. The Facebook group for this particular cruise had several people had mentioned that they'd been to Rome before and used this company for their transfers. So we'll
Name
put
of the company is down there.
Because I can't remember it right now, but honestly, they are super professional. Maybe not the cheapest around, but you know what? The vehicles are really well kept. Drivers very punctual, very professional. Didn't speak a whole lot of English, but hey, knew exactly enough English to get by.
He's probably done that trip a million times.
Yeah, exactly. And the communication, because we booked it months ago, like literally about 9 or 10 months ago, and I've contacted them 3 or 4 times since by email. Always had a prompt response. So you get what you pay for. We're very happy with this transfer firm.
And tomorrow's our disembarkation day. Is it disembarkation? De-embarkation? I never know the right word. But we're actually using the same company to take us directly to the airport as well. So we'll put all their details in the description below.
Next tip. If you're on a similar itinerary to this one and you stop in the Turkish port of Kusadasi.
You've got to say it like Sean Connery.
Kusadasi. Yeah, that place. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, shore excursions you're going to be offered is to the ancient ruins of Ephesus. Ephesus. Well, all I can say is what a fantastic ancient site.
That vlog is actually one of the very few that are worth watching.
Don't listen to him. The others are worth watching too.
That was a good day.
It's a fantastic shore excursion. We chose the shortest and least expensive one, which is about a 3-hour kind of duration. There are much longer tours available which allow you to see more of the site, but I think we got a really good taster.
Yeah, I think as well, it was very hot. We're talking low 30s. I don't know what it is in American units.
Probably mid 80s, mid to high 80s.
And so it was very hot, and I can tell you now, in Ephesus there is no shade. None whatsoever. So you just, if you are going to be on it, if you're coming in the summer and it's blistering hot and you're on the longer tour, then just be aware that it might be a little bit oppressive with the heat. I think the 3-hour tour that we had was plenty enough. I think a full day was a bit much, because Kusadasi, which is the main town, is amazing. It has got so much going on. The energy is fantastic. If you are going to do an all-day tour, you are going to you're doing yourself a bit of a disservice, I would say, by missing out some of the town itself. And obviously you've got to go and have a kebab or whatever, and or go get one of those Turkish massages if you can,
or buy something fake.
Buy something fake. Genuine fake watches, absolutely everywhere.
I don't think there was anything real in that town.
No, apart from the lamb.
That was real nice.
That was real nice lamb. Just be mindful of the heat, and
take lots of hats, parasols, tons of sun protection, and also footwear.
Yeah.
A lot of the places where you walk, the ground's uneven, and a lot of it is marble. So they've kept a lot of the original marble from 3,000 years ago or whatever, and it's really slippery. Like really slippery. There's a few times, we were walking down what looked like a really gentle slope, and we kind of slid down in one movement. Yeah. So just be careful, particularly if you're not 100% sure on your feet, that you're wearing some kind of grippy shoes. Don't turn up in slides or flip-flops or whatever. Just 100%. It's not appropriate for that site. But
there is a guy as you go into Ephesus who says, as you go in through the ticket booth, I will say, you can't buy water inside, you have to buy water from me. He's lying. You can buy water inside. As you go near the library, there are a couple of stores there where you can buy water. So don't worry about that. I would say take your own anyway, as you can take it off the ship. But for sure, don't fall for any of that. And and obviously things like Turkish Delight and things like that, if you buy it from Ephesus, you're going to pay a premium on what you would if you were to get it from the port. Next tip,
ports in general. So this is a very port intensive cruise. I believe next year the itinerary is almost identical. So it's a 9-nighter, so that's 8 full days. And out of those 8 full days, you've got 2 sea days and 6 port days. This tip is all about kind of planning ahead, because what we found was the more popular ports were absolutely crazy busy.
Yeah, Mykonos had
perfect
5
example
ships
was
in
Mykonos.
Port. Yeah,
now Mykonos is somewhere that I really wanted to visit. I would plan, if I had to do this itinerary again, I would plan a bit more carefully, just to find out how busy each port is likely to be. You can do that really simply. You can go on to one of the cruise websites, and if you just type in cruise port schedule.
The reason that doorbell went off just then was maintenance, because this morning a bulb had gone in the bathroom. I didn't tell anyone actually about it, but obviously the cabin attendant had noticed it, and so that was them fixing it. Anyway, back to what we were talking about, which was...
Well, why don't we talk about cabin attendants, seeing as you just brought them up?
Well, do you want to finish the last point first?
I don't know what the last point was.
Ports and port research, because as we mentioned in Mykonos, there were 5 cruise ships in port, which was a lot.
Yeah, I think somewhere like that, which is a reasonably small town, Mykonos town, it's not able to cope with 10, 12, 15,000 people hitting it in a day. It just isn't. So one of the things you can do to kind of plan ahead is to double check on your itinerary which days you're in port and how many other ships are going to be in port.
Yeah, because you said you can search for
Yeah, so there's websites like Cruise Mapper. If you just literally just go on a search engine and type in cruise port schedules, you are going to get a whole list, and just find the port, all the ports on your itinerary, and it will show you on each specific date, right up until, I think they're currently up until the end of the next season. So in theory, you should be able to check at least a year ahead. What do you do with that information? Well, if you find out that you're in port with a lot of other ships, it might well be worth booking your shore excursions earlier in the day. For example, we did our kind of half-day
Santorini.
tour of Santorini in the afternoon. We didn't leave until about 1:30, something like that. In hindsight, had we known there were 3 or 4 ships in port that day, because I forgot to check, we would probably have booked the morning departure for that one to get up there before the other ships arrive.
You'll see on the vlog that it was incredibly busy once that vlog comes out. It's another beautiful place and highly recommend going there, but when you can barely move in because the roads the streets are very, very narrow. I mean, it's part of the charm, but when you're trying to cram 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 people,
so
very small
the rule of thumb is check ahead.
Let's just talk about excursions for enough, because a lot of people will say do not book through the cruise companies because you do get ripped off, let's be honest. But I think in the case
by ripped off he means they're a little bit more expensive than they would be if you went direct to the tour company.
Some of them are a joke. Anyway, so let's talk about the Acropolis, for example. One of the stops that you're more than likely to do is going to be Piraeus, which is Athens, if you're doing a Greek Isles cruise. Now, the Acropolis, I did buy a ticket through a third party, and
why did you book it through a third party, Anne?
Honestly, because my feeling was at the time was I wasn't going to book it through Royal Caribbean because it was about $150 when the entrances were like $150 when it was like €30 to book it through a third party, and the ticket was an all-day ticket, and it said on there, try and go in the afternoon because it'll be quieter, it's always busy in the morning, yada yada yada. Then about 48 hours beforehand, when I got to the Acropolis, 48 hours before I got an email, regarding this to say that the ticket terms have changed. It's no longer an all-day ticket. You have to go to the window and they'll give you a time to come back. So I did that, and the time I was given meant that I couldn't do the tour and get back to the ship in time. Again, this whole episode has been vlogged. I did do other things on the day, so it's definitely worth watching, and I found some real gems of places to go for a cheeky wine, but it was disappointing. And I think for me, my big tip I'm going to say to people who are going to Athens is, first of all, the port is very far away from the Piraeus train station. You can get a taxi that'll take you straight into Athens, which will cost you about €20. But if you want to get the train, which you can get a taxi.
The cab all the way into Athens is only €20.
Well, that's what the Uber app said, but it wasn't Uber, it was a local cab company. But then I walked past a lot of people and they were trying to negotiate with them. I sometimes think it's a little bit risky personally, so I wanted to get the train. You can walk to the station. It takes nearly an hour though if you're a slow walker. Even at a quick pace, you're looking at about 25 to 40 minutes.
If you're risk averse, book it with the cruise company.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you're going to go to want to do something specific like the Acropolis, it's probably worth doing it through the cruise company. If you are going to go do it on your own, my tip would be to go early, get your time, and then because you'll probably have enough time. It'll probably be late morning, early afternoon. You'll still have time to do the Acropolis and get back to the ship, because obviously the risk is if you book it outside of Royal Caribbean, they will not wait for you if you are late back to the ship. And for me, it was a bit too close for comfort, so I decided to use the time and seeing other parts of Athens instead. But yeah, that's my tip for Athens.
And thanks for keeping it so succinct, Ant. Next tip.
So for our final tip for the Odyssey of Seas and the Greek Isles cruise, although some of these tips can really be applied to any cruise, I think, thinking about them when it comes to staying on Odyssey of the Seas. But our final tip, Glenn.
Yeah, it's cabin attendants, which people get confused, particularly people who are new to cruising. Don't necessarily fully understand how they interact with their cabin attendants or how they can use them, etc. What we do is, on our first day, when the cabin attendant comes to greet you, they'll typically introduce themselves, they'll ask your name, and very often they'll use it regularly when they see you, which is always nice. But they'll also ask you if there's any special requests that you may have. Now, if you've just flown in, or you've come in from on a transfer or what have you, you're probably stressed, tired, longing for your first cocktail, put your feet up, etc. And the last thing you really want to do is to start thinking about requests for your room steward. But honestly, that's the best time to pass those requests over to them. For example, when we first met our cabin attendant on the first day, we asked for a few things, such as, could we have a bucket of ice every time they came in to do the room? Because we like to have cold water, or to refresh our drinks, etc. If you don't ask for that, it's unlikely you'll receive that. Mm-hmm. Other things like a mattress topper for the bed. Ant is a little bit delicate, so he thought the mattress on the bed was a little bit hard. So we asked for a mattress topper, which they came delicate, a little bit. Ooh, Princess and the Pea, if you're familiar with that story. That's Ant. We also got him a feather pillow because obviously the regular pillows, again, probably a little bit too much for him to cope with. So we got feather pillows brought in instead. You can also ask the cabin attendant to come at a specific time. They might not always be able to do that, but if you're the sort of person, I don't know, maybe you love getting up at 5 a.m. every morning and it'd be great to have your room done as quickly as possible, then what they'll try and do is as soon as they come on shift, they'll try and prioritise your cabin. If you like to lay in a little bit, again, tell them please don't come into the room until 11 or 12. We are aware that since Royal Caribbean went from 2 room cleans per day to 1 for most cabins.
1 second. Keep talking.
This might actually be a bit more restrictive for some cabins, but the requests can be given in exactly the same way. Other things that we've requested, a second box of Kleenex, because we just like a box each. No. Extra towels. We always, I think on
now
vacation,
you're just giving them our wish list. They're not going to have future cabin attendants watching this. But the point being is, be really specific as to the request you want.
Yes.
And the thing is, because for me, the bed was a little bit tough. I would say if you're going to go in there, lay on top of the bed as soon as you get in, and to know are you going to need a topper, are you going to need a pillow? Do all those things. Give it a bit of a recce. The other thing is this thing. Do you know what this is?
What is that?
This is the thing you put on the door that says, sleeping off the adventure, please do not disturb. And then on the other side, it used to say,
make up my room.
Make up my room. It don't say that anymore. They've got rid of it. So I don't know why that is, or if we've just got a broken one. But if that's the case, that's why it's important to let your cabin attendant know, because they're not going to just walk past and go, oh, they're out, we can do their room now. So yeah, that's that. That's a bit of, I don't know, if you're on another Royal Caribbean cruise, our next one isn't until June next year, so you'll have to let us know if this is just for Odyssey or if this is a new thing for Royal.
If you've never cruised before, your cabin attendant will be your best friend that you never see.
Yes.
Because they'll come in and clean and you won't even know they're there most of the time. And it's lovely to come back from dinner and your room's been turned down, you've got fresh towels, etc. It's really nice. They really do look after you, but make sure you look after them as well. Even if you've paid ultra gratuities, we always like to tip a little bit more if our cabin attendant has been that extra bit personable, gone out of their way to help us with requests, and we always do have quite a lot of requests. So we're always quite happy to tip a little bit extra at the end of the trip.
Yeah, and the other thing is, finally, a little bit of a bonus tip. Every cabin is allowed to bring on 2 bottles of wine. So if you're not going to get a drinks package, but you like a glass of wine, you can bring on 2 bottles of wine and keep it in your fridge. Or if it's red, put it on the side. But the fact is, you can have a bottle of wine. Do not forget a bottle opener, though. That's all I'm saying. Bring your own bottle opener if it's got a cork. So that's my final bonus tip. Thank you so much for watching this video. Unless, of course, you've got something else that people are going to really find not that interesting.
No, I think I've shared everything that I had to share.
Great. If you found this video interesting or useful or helpful in any way, shape or form, don't forget to like it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I've been Ant, he's been Glenn. Thank you for watching. Say goodbye, Glenn.
Goodbye, Glenn.
See you on the next one. Bye now.